Now we'd like to resume the Japan-ASEAN Economic Co-Creation Forum. The next session is on trade digital transformation, the current landscape and challenges of digitalization in the area of trade, where large volumes of paper documents continue to be exchanged, will be discussed by experts from industry and the government. So first of all, we would like to call upon the economist from the Economic Research Institute for ASEAN and East Asia area, Mr. Keita Oikawa, to make a presentation. So Mr. Oikawa, the floor is yours. Could you please start?
Good morning. Excellencies, distinguished participants, ladies and gentlemen. I'm Keita Oikawa at the Economic Research Institute for ASEAN and East Asia area. I'm honored to have this opportunity to present areas and e-risk project of the digitalization of supply chains in ASEAN and Japan. I'll skip this slide. Then, let me start with the background of this project. ASEAN has built competitive production networks with Japan. However, to keep the competitiveness of production networks, we need to effectively respond to the global trend of increasing and diversifying supply chain risks, carbon neutral, circular economy, and human rights issues. The key is effective data sharing across end-to-end supply chains. EU is in progress in constructing data sharing architecture such as International Data Space and Catena-X. ASEAN and Japan need to consider how to respond to the increasing needs of data sharing across supply chains. Sharing data is necessary, but just saying, let's share data, will not work. We need discussion among companies about why we share data, what are the benefits of sharing data, and how to create more competitive business operation by sharing data. Area's new center, Digital Economy and Sustainable Economy Center, eDISC, formed discussion group and started discussion on digitalization of supply chains. As I mentioned earlier, supply chain digitalization is not an easy task. So it requires persistent and continuous efforts. Additionally, it is crucial to ensure concrete benefits for all stakeholders through data sharing in order to make progress. Therefore, we have adopted a start small, grow big strategy to tackle this challenge. We selected 4 countries and 1 industry for each targeted country. For Indonesia, we chose the automotive sector. For Singapore, the logistics sector. For Thailand, the automotive sector. For Vietnam, the electronics sector. The discussion members are from the private sector and academia. The discussion group identifies pain points within these specific industries and develop use cases to address these challenges. So for those unfamiliar with the term use case refers to a detailed description of a system's behavior involving the exchange and usage of actual data among stakeholders for a specific purpose. Further, we summarize discussions and publish reports by utilizing both high-level and detailed documents. Our project started in April this year, and we have compiled 2 reports, the vision for the digitalization of supply chain in ASEAN and Japan, and a report on use case concretization, visualization of carbon footprint for the automotive industry, commemorating the 50th year of ASEAN-Japan Friendship and Cooperation. I will now present the essence of these reports. Then, I would like to emphasize that our project is not exclusive one in terms of the regional scope. We started with the regional scope of ASEAN and Japan, but we aim to expand the scope to the entire Asian region. Now let me talk about the vision for the digitalization of supply chains in ASEAN and Japan. The vision presents its mission and the value proposition of our supply chain digitalization initiative. Our mission is to establish a digitalized and sustainable supply chain that is trusted and reliable, cost and time efficient, and with transparency, traceability, connectivity, and interoperability to enable seamless movement of goods and service between ASEAN and Japan. Our mission is broken down to the 8 value propositions. I will not go into details of every value proposition, but I'd like to emphasize the collaboration, the second one from the bottom. This value proposition promotes collaboration between large enterprises and SMEs by exchanging best practice and know-how. This value proposition emphasizing the inclusion of SMEs, making our initiative unique compared to initiatives in other regions. Then to realize the vision for digitalization across ASEAN and Japan, we need to clearly define multiple requirements and enablers. As illustrated in this slide, we identified these as the following 3 building blocks: A, infrastructure, B, rules, and C, mindset and skill set. These building blocks are important and necessary to accelerate the development of use cases. To translate the vision into tangible benefits, it is crucial to implement it through specific use cases. After analyzing the current pain points in ASEAN, we identified several potential or urgent use cases as depicted in this slide. Among these, we have prioritized the visualization of end-to-end carbon footprint, recognizing it as the most urgent and needed by the stakeholders participating in the supply chain in ASEAN and Japan. Based on this understanding, we decided to develop a use case for the visualization of carbon footprint with a focus on the automotive industry, one of the significant industries in ASEAN and Japan. Next, I will talk about our report on the use case of carbon footprint visualization for the automotive industry. To concretize a use case for carbon footprint visualization across supply chains, we identified pain points and challenges and drew implications for the data sharing initiative through benchmarking Catena-X, a notable initiative in Europe, and discussions with experts in ASEAN and Japan. These experts are from the same 4 focus countries as the high-level discussion group, plus Japan. Additionally, they are from the automotive and related industries. As mentioned earlier, a use case refers to the description of a system's behavior involving the exchange and usage of actual data among stakeholders for specific purposes. Key components in this slide define the stakeholders, data coverage and items, data sharing standards and processes, and the technical architecture for carbon footprint visualization across supply chains for the automotive industry. Our developed use case also addresses local challenges. As highlighted in the value proposition of our initiative, our use case emphasizes the inclusion of SMEs by designing clear incentives and guidelines for their participation in our supply chain data ecosystem. To conclude my presentation, I will summarize what we have done and mention what we are going to do next. Starting with what we have done, as mentioned, we formed the discussion group from 4 ASEAN member countries and developed the vision for digitalization of supply chain in ASEAN and Japan. Building on the understanding of the vision, we formed the sub-discussion group with experts from ASEAN and Japan and developed the report on the use case of carbon footprint visualization for the automotive industry. Additionally, we launched another sub-discussion group with IT experts from ASEAN and Japan to discuss the direction of our data sharing platform. And looking ahead to what we will do next, we will consider a promotion plan for our vision and use case, an implementation plan for the pilot and rollout, verify the technical architecture, and establish a promotion structure in the next year. This is the end of my presentation. Thank you for your attention.
Thank you very much, Mr. Oikawa.
Next, we will have the AEM-METI Economic and Industrial Cooperation Committee Chief Representative, Mr. Fujioka Ryosuke. Please, Mr. Fujioka. Thank you for that introduction, and good morning, ladies and gentlemen. I am the Chief Representative of the Secretariat of AMEC. My name is Fujioka. And today I'll talk about acceleration of digital trade in ASEAN and Japan, and I have been given 10 minutes, so I will present. Thank you. So first of all, Dr. Oikawa mentioned this in his presentation too, but digitalization of supply chain is very important. But we are focusing here on digital trade, and why is this important is what I would like to start with. So as you can see, you will immediately understand that international trade has various players and is handling various documents. And there's huge amount of time and energy or labor that goes into the handling of these documents. So by digitalizing this, we will be able to achieve efficiency and accuracy. And that is what we are pursuing in this effort. And so that is the challenge that we are trying to solve. And at the moment, there are many organizations that are establishing digital platforms who we will be hearing from in our latter panel. But to make the long story short, blockchain technology is used to digitalize all of these documents and trade them between the relevant players. So that is what we mean by digital platforms. And these trading platforms are cooperating and collaborating to conduct POCs, proof of concept efforts. And at APEC last year, Trade Waltz from Japan, who will be talking later, it's a Japanese platformer, and Thailand, NDTP, and NTP from Singapore, and Australia, and New Zealand's Trade Window. There are 4 that are being connected to digitalize and promote the digitalization of trade. And so we are making gradual effort, and we want to expand that throughout the ASEAN region. And that is our mission, to expand this to the Japan-ASEAN region. So this is the digital trade platform from Japan, just for your information. There are various platforms, one led by governments, and then others led by private platforms. And for those private platforms, there are industries which are backbones to those particular platforms. Trade Waltz will be talking today is in the area of trade, logistics, and finance. So all sorts of companies from all of these areas created this joint venture, and there are many trade companies as well. And so therefore it is an international platform, or it can in fact be representative of Japan is as an international platform, very actively used. And I know that that was a long setup, but ASEAN BAC, which is like a K-DAMREN for ASEAN, and ourselves are doing joint research. ASEAN BAC has started working on a legacy project for digital trade from 2019, and AMEC, that I belong to, has been working since then too. And this year we're celebrating the 50 years of the ASEAN-Japan relationship. We have decided to do a research. And so that is what I would like to introduce to you now. So first of all, it's divided into three areas: analysis, strategy, and action. So that's how it is divided. First of all, by doing a digital trade, what is the advantage? That needs to be analyzed. And so based on what policy should we move forward with digitalization? And then what particular actions need to follow? So those are the three areas that this is divided to. So, from three different perspectives, we have analyzed the situation. The first perspective is global. I mean, digital trade doesn't happen just between ASEAN and Japan. We need to look at the overall situation. And then, on a regional basis, what does ASEAN need to do? And then, on a national level, what are each of the countries doing? So, that is the analysis that was conducted. So, again, for analysis, I am going to show you some big numbers. With digital trade, what is the decrease of input and the raising of efficiency? That's what we're describing with these numbers. And according to our rough estimation, 16.6 billion US dollars per year is the cost reduction that we can expect. And at the very beginning, you saw the digitalization of the trade documents and that difficult or complicated movement, but reducing that can bring us to these numbers. And of course, there are other benefits, and I apologize for this being small, but towards the bottom they're listed. And like I said, accuracy will be increased, and SMEs may be challenged to be involved in international trade, but with digital trade, they'll be able to come in one-stop shop. And like Dr. Oikawa said, there's supply chain transparency that goes up, and therefore we will have resiliency. And again, Dr. Oikawa presented this too, but CO2 can be measured, and by digitalization, we will be more efficient, and therefore CO2 emissions will come down. So those are the results of the analysis that has been done. I know that this slide is a little bit difficult to read, but I would like to thoroughly explain it. So what is the direction that we should head for? And I've divided that into three parts. First, you establish the digital platforms and then connect them. And then secondly, you need to digitalize and standardize data. And so these two parts need to be worked on as an infrastructure, and we at the same time need to increase the number of platform users. And to do that, we need a policy. The governments will have a policy, and there will be private actions as well. And all of this needs to work together. The digitalization efforts might be different or intentions might be different from country to country, but we need to come together as a whole. So at the bottom, as you can see, we need to have a consensus about the pathway. And private and public need to have a common understanding about what that pathway should be. And so in our investigation, that is where we concluded. And I'll be very brief here. We've been talking about the ASEAN single window. A couple of people already mentioned this, but it's not just private platforms, but the national single window, a government document is being exchanged, and that content that window will be digitalized, and this kind of cooperation is also very important. Now, just very briefly, this is the roadmap. This is a rough roadmap. So, develop and connect platforms, digitalize and standardize data, and also acquire users. So, in these three different segments, what do we need to do short term versus mid-term versus long term? They have been organized here. And like I said, ASEAN back, the ASEAN K down range, if I may, we will work with them in close contact. Thailand in digital trade has a legacy project for ASEAN back. And in addition to that, Singapore, the Philippines, Brunei, and Indonesia are countries who have digital trade related initiatives. And so we will also work with them, since that will be important. Now, in the policy proposal, we believe this is what needs to be actively pursued in Japan. So, develop and connect the platforms. Right now, METI is doing POCs and providing support to connect the platforms, and we will continue to provide the support there. And then capacity building is very important. And so various stakeholders will be targeted, system developers, regulators or regulation developers, and also the users. So we need to do capacity building for a variety of stakeholders. And utilizing such opportunities, we would like to share knowledge so that people understand that this is the state-of-the-art activity. That's how we need to move forward. And then towards the end, we had two areas, but I think eDisk is our partner, and we can work with eDisk. The last page talks about the conclusion of what I talked about, and because of time, I would like to skip over this. Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Mr. Fujioka.
Next, we would like to move on to the panel discussion. I'd like to introduce the moderator and the panelists. The moderator is from Ministry of Economy, Trade and Industry, Deputy Director General, Trade and Economic Cooperation Bureau, Mr. Tanaka Kazushige.
Director for ASEAN Negotiation, Minister of Trade, Republic of Indonesia, Ms. Dina Kuni Asali. Secretary General of the Thai Banking Association, Mr. Kopsak Dwandi. Director of Networked Trade Platform at Singapore Customs, Ms. Chu Hua-yi.
From Toyota Tsusho Corporation, Manager of Global Logistic Management Department, Mr. Katsuragi Ryosuke, and Mr. Somiya from Trade Vaults, Executive Officer. So I'd like to hand over to Tanaka-san.
Good morning, everyone. Thank you for all coming today. So everything seems ready, so let's get started. We had two presentations before this panel discussion. We had digitalization of the supply chain, and we had trade digitalization. In this panel discussion, we want to explore how to promote the trade digitalization further, and how to promote the collaboration further between Japan and ASEAN countries. First of all, I'm very excited to welcome the 5 great and distinguished panelists here today. I would like each panelist to make a brief introduction of themselves. Hina?
Hello, good morning, everyone. It's very nice to meet you all. My name is Dina. I'm one of the negotiators in ASEAN. I'm the former SEOM chair, and currently also become the RGC chair for the RCEP, it's the mega FTAs, and also alternative chair for the ASEAN-Canada FTAs. Very nice to meet you all. Thank you.
Kopsak-san.
Good morning. My name is Kopsak Dongdi. I'm the Secretary General of the Thai Banker Associations. I'm representing Thailand in the ASEAN Business Advisory Council and APEC Business Advisory Council. And I'm a chair of the Asia Pacific Financial Forum, or APFF, under the ABAC. I'm also the main coordinator for the Digital Trade Connect Network. Thank you.
Hi. Morning. I'm Wai from Singapore Customs, and I oversee the NTP, or the Network Trade Platform. So just as a quick way of introduction, this is the NTP. It's live since 2018. We've had the opportunity actually to collaborate with some of our distinguished panelists here today. I won't go through the slides because I just want to give you a view of what the NTP looks like, and if you're curious, the URL is www.ntp.gov.sg.
皆様おはようございます。トヨタ通商の桂木でございます。Good morning, everyone. My name is Ryosuke Katsuragi. I belong in logistics department, and I'm in charge of trade operation, logistics operations. Then we are handling various goods like machineries and auto parts and automotives and chemicals. So a lot of lineups. So the trade digitalization is very important to tackle with the very many lineup products. Thank you.
Good morning. My name is Satoru Someya, the Executive Officer CEO of Trade Wars Inc. Just briefly introduction, we are operating the Trade DX platform, Trade Wars, from Japan. This is operated by the 16 major trade industry players of Japan, and 5 of the names are the NTT Data and the Toyota Tsusho and the University of Tokyo, Sumitomo Corporation, and Mitsubishi Corporation. We are leveraging the blockchain technology to streamline the analog procedure in the cross-industry communication of the trade procedure, and making the efficiency of the operation improvement, and also enables the remote work and reduction of the CO2 emission utilizing this platform. The image is on the down half of this slide. We are now making the Trade DX. And we are also making the ASEAN collaboration these years. Last year, we are collaborated with Thailand and Singapore, and making the request to the ASEAN 10 countries. And this year, to contribute to the ASEAN and Japan economic co-creation vision, and making the 5 new MOU with the ASEAN 5 countries. Yeah, thank you.
Thank you, Someya-san. Thank you, everybody. So we dive into the agenda. The first point is we had many words about the trade digitalization. Now I'd like to start by asking the importance of the trade digitalization. We had 2 presentations. One is by Mr. Fujioka from AMEC. The social benefit of trade digitalization is around $60 billion US. Again, around 16 billion US. And Mr. Oikawa from the area, he also pointed out in his presentation that both ASEAN and Japan are facing emerging supply chain risks. So we expect that trade digitalization can contribute to the making supply chain more resilient. The importance of trade digitalization has been recognized worldwide, such G20 or APEC. So my questions are, what do you think about the importance of trade digitalization in Indonesia, Singapore, and Thailand? And also, what kind of the positive impact on your country do you expect through trade digitalization? So we start from the Dina-san and the Kopsak-san and the Wei-san, please.
Thank you for the questions. Very difficult but very challenging questions. Regarding the importance of the trade digitalization in my countries, as we know, Indonesia is one of the important chair in the mega FTAs, and also we are also the chair of the ASEAN during 2023. One of our priority economic deliverables, or PED, is related with the trade digitalizations. It means that we put a very high importance of the trade digitalizations, not only in my country, but also in the regions. And during the IM, ASEAN Economic Ministers meeting in August, we also already endorsed 3 deliverables related with the digital economy. The first one, we endorsed the study, and then the second one, we also endorsed the framework to negotiate DEFA, and then the third one, we also issued the leader statement that also have been delivered during the summit of ASEAN in September. And we also already did the launching of the negotiation of DEFA, Digital Economic Framework Agreements, as I believe is also a very huge milestone for ASEAN, since we don't have any digital trade agreement in place, and we just only have an agreement on e-commerce, but we don't have any digital economy agreements in place currently. So I believe this year's take a very huge milestone for us. And the other thing that I also would like to emphasize that other PEDs also related with the digital trade digitalizations, like the implementation of E-Form D. I believe this initiative can also enhance the internal trade amongst ASEAN to facilitate trade and also to reduce costs and also time for the private sectors in doing the export-import. And the other thing that I also would like to emphasize is the importance of trade digitalizations in supporting the SMEs. SMEs can be considered as the backbone of our national economy. It contributes to 18–90% of economic activities, not only in Indonesia, but also in the regions. So almost the GDP of economic activities is contributed by the SMEs. And the importance of the trade digitalizations for the SMEs is also improving the effectiveness and also the activities in SMEs, not only once again in my country, but also in the regions. So I believe if we can address the digital literature, we can also address digital infrastructures and so on. It can also enhance the participations of SMEs in our economic activities. And I believe the ultimate impact of this initiative can become a game changer, not only once again in my country, in the region, and also in the worldwide. So that's why in ASEAN, not only in internal ASEAN, but also with our major dialogue partners, we negotiate digital economy as one of the new issues, like with the Canada, with the upgrading with the ASEAN-China, and upgrading ASEAN Trade in Good Agreement. One of the key elements in negotiating our agreements currently is also digital economy.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Dina.
Thank you for the questions. I think every country, both in ASEAN and APEC, are aware of the importance of the digital transformation, and also especially on the digital payments and digital trade. Thailand is one of the countries that has already been moving toward to the digital economy, and several parts in Thailand has been working on both in the business sector and government sector, has been moved toward to the digitalization. This is including the e-payment and e-government, e-tax. The benefit of the digital trade is quite clear to all parties. However, it is also equally clear that transformation of the trade to digital is very complicated and very difficult, and it involves a large number of stakeholders, large number of documents, and also the connectivity. So there are numbers of current efficiency and potential improvement in digital trade and digital trade digitalization. Therefore, a wide and close cooperation and collaboration among the business sector and between business sector and government are very important. In addition, the level of readiness of transforming digital trade of various stakeholders in the countries in between the countries are quite different. In Thailand, both the private sector and the public sector has already been working together and put efforts on trade digitalization. A lot of things have been done during the past 3 to 4 years. NDTP is a project that we start in 2019, and it has been working close collaboration between private and business sector. This is including the Thai Banker Association, Thai Chamber of Commerce, Federation of Thai Industry, banks, exporters, importers, liners, has already put working team together. And the government agency, including the Ministry of Digital Economy and Society and Office of the Public Development Committee or OPDC, and also Electronic Transaction Development Agency or EDDA, have already joined our working together with us. The NDTP or Digital Trade Platform of Thailand has already been endorsed by the government since by the cabinet resolution since 2019, and various committees and various working groups have been established to drive the digital trade digitalization. The law has already also been amended and also been improved to support the enable digital trade. This is including the Electronic Transaction Act, which follow the anti-fraud model law on electronic transferable records. And on the questions of what kind of positive impact for Thailand that we can expect to digital trade transaction, there are several positive impacts. This is including maintaining the country competitiveness. The end goal is to incremental in international trade, especially for the Thai exports. This benefit the strength of Thailand as a country, business corporations, and growing their business and ultimate jobs and wealth for the Thai citizens. Increased efficiency, lower time and cost, and less paper and less manual. If you can make trade faster, simpler, and cheaper, we should be able to expect more trade and more export and import. SME can also do more business, not only because they are not too complex for them to handle, but also they can better access to finance and obtain financing from banks. And this also helps banks in terms of risk management and by addressing pain points of banks in terms of double financing and fraud. And in addition, banks can get more reliable information of customers on performance and their ability to pay and willingness to pay. Another important positive impact is on the ESG side. Digital trade support the sustainability issues both countries and business, and if it reached the significant level, we should see a significant result in carbon reduction, given less paper, less oil and gas for transportation. This also creating the big data from more reliable and more accurate sources, and then it will help in terms of strategy and planning and also data analytic. So. Thank you.
Thank you, Kopsak-san. Wai-san?
Thanks. There are some really good points that Dina and Kopsak raised. I think first, when we look at trade digitalization in Singapore, we look fundamentally at trade. And for Singapore, trade is around 2.5 times our GDP. That tells you how important trade is to us, and therefore how important trade digitalization is for us. In terms of impact, I think we've talked a lot about productivity gains, impact on economy. And that is true, I think, for all of us, right? If we can digitalize trade, the first thing we will do is we will be able to become a lot more efficient. We will not have to deal with the time lags. We will not have to deal with comparing paper documents. But there is one very important thing that digitalization in trade can deliver for all of us at the country level as well as at the company level. And that is to solve problems that were previously unsolvable by paper, right? One of these problems is authenticity, right? And I think our panelists will talk about it later on as well. But I wanted to pick up a point Dina made about the Artiga e-Form D. Today, the ASEAN single window allows ASEAN member states to exchange the certificate of origin for Artiga, which is the ASEAN Free Trade Agreement, digitally. We do that via the ASEAN single window. We need to encourage more of our companies, Singapore companies included, to use the e-version as opposed to the paper version. Why do I say that? Of course, it saves time, it saves the courier, it prevents lags. You know, ASEAN countries are very close, Singapore and Indonesia in particular. We are right next to each other, and very often goods arrive and the documents are lagging. But that's one problem digital can solve that paper can never solve, no matter how efficient we become. The other problem, which is far more valuable and almost impossible to quantify and put a number to it, is the value of authenticity. Today, when we are able to send an e-Form D to a member state in ASEAN, they have the assurance that it's genuine because Singapore customs system is linked to the ASEAN single window and we are sending it. So there's no question of authenticity. The same when an ASEAN member state sends an e-Form D and Singapore is receiving it. That is priceless, right? I can put a value to how many hours I save by not having to re-enter data. I can put a value to how much money I save when I don't have to use a courier to pick up documents and send it to somebody else. I can put a value to how much time I save by making processes faster and shorter. But it's impossible to put a value to authenticity. And digitalization solves this problem when we are able to connect, right? So I urge all of us to think about the positive impact, not just in terms of bottom line gains, right, shaving off costs, but think of the top line impact, the opportunities that we open up when we're able to solve problems we couldn't previously solve, and doing that through digitalization and trade digitalization, right? So I mean, I leave that thought with you. I think it's interesting. Sometimes it's a little bit challenging, but I think it will make a great impact for all of us.
Thank you, thank you. The three panelists are very enthusiastic, you know, how the trade digitalization is important. But how is, you know, Japan? Japan is also actively engaging with the trade digitalization, especially, you know, several companies are expanding their business in ASEAN. So my question to the two Japanese panelists are, how important is the trade digitalization in ASEAN countries for your business, and what kind of positive impact on your business do you expect from the trade digitalization? So from Katsuragi-san.
Toyota Tsusho has been doing a lot of trading business among ASEAN countries for a long time. Although export declaration and import declaration require mostly same information, these applications have not been connected. So an exporter has to imply information in the exporting country and send the information by papers or PDFs to the importer. Then the importer has to apply information in their importing countries separately. So there are a lot of double works in trades. As for TTC transaction, our main part of foreign clients are our group subsidiary companies. So some sales divisions are trying to introduce global platforms internally for trade data transmission between importer side and exporter side. However, it is not feasible to have such data transmission platform with external clients. Without trade digitalization, we have to continue double works in both an export country and an import country. So we are expecting digital platformers become a hub among all exporters and importers. if we can send trade data information to digital platforms for an import customs agent and an importer at the same time, we can save time for data transmissions and the communications as well. Additionally, the importer side can save time to input the data to their customs application system manually. And they can reduce the risk of typo of the applications as well. So the trade digitalization will contribute to streamlining trade industry so much. Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, we think the trade digitalization of ASEAN countries and connecting the data to Japan and making the end-to-end trade digitalization is very important in the two aspects. The first one is the user's voice, and the second one is the approved POC results. The first one are the user's voice. We are now joining to the METIS, the government's working group, to hear the manufacturer's voice of how important the trade digitalization. And around the 30 to 40% of the users want the trade digitalization by the end-to-end, which means a counterparties countries digitalization will be important and the data connection will be needed. And also the certification of origin is mentioned. And if we connect these data to the counterparty country, the procedure of the certification of origin is very streamlined and also adapted to the FTA, EPA, those kinds of the financial agreement between the country to country. This is a user's voice. So especially the Toyota Group or any other manufacturer group want those kinds of the certification of origin or the connecting to the other countries. That is very beneficial for our services expansion. The second one, the proof POC data. Yeah, we already, there's a POC by the system linkage with Thailand's NDTP and Singapore's NDP in last year. And in the Thailand's POC, we proved only domestic Japan's digitalization can improve the trade operation efficiency around 40%. But if we can connect to the end-to-end, we can additionally improve the trade operations efficiency additionally 20%, which means reaching to the 60%. So these kinds of the trade digitalization of ASEAN countries and connect the data is very important in the two aspects, users' voice and also the proved efficiency improvement data.
Thank you, Somiya-san. We are a little bit behind time, and maybe audience wants to have a coffee as soon as possible. So, but we want to share with you the many points, other points. So if possible, please give the quick or compact comment as compact as possible. So next is the question is to Dina and Wai. Especially what are the necessary policies and what is the obstacle or challenge for trade digitalization in your country? I want to start by Wai.
Okay, I think one of the most important things about trade digitalization is trust, right? Without trust or framework of trust, whether they be policies, legal frameworks, or systems, it is impossible to digitalize trade because we are so comfortable with paper. So in Singapore, in addition to the legal frameworks, I think Kopsak spoke about the UN model law, on top of the legislations that we have in place that gives legal standing to digital transactions. One of the things that NTP has been very fortunate to be able to leverage on is a national digital identity system. And I think that it has made it very easy for us to enable trust in the trade ecosystem. That system allows every company and every entity, including government, to have a unique identifier number. And that unique identifier number is then enabled as a digital identity that we use to log into systems, right? So it becomes your user ID, and there is a way to manage your passwords nationally. And that national framework, I think, has been very instrumental in allowing trade, and not just trade, but other digital transactions to happen with trust, right? Because the legal framework is useful, but by the time you rely on a legal framework, something has gone wrong. You're trying to sue someone. It's enabling the day-to-day transactions, and I think that's where governments have a role to play.
Thank you. Dina-san.
Thank you. Regarding the questions, what actually the important factors to accelerate trade digitalizations? I believe one of the key factors in my country, as one of the biggest countries in the world in the context of geography and also the populations. The first ones, we must enhance the investments. The investments in digital infrastructures. As we noted that Indonesia still have a lack of the infrastructures in digital economy. And the second one is related with the support for study and also research, innovations, and also the business development in improving the digital economy. And also improving the digital capacity for the officials, for the private sectors, particularly for the SMEs. I believe it will be important for us to enhance the digital literacies, not only for the SMEs, but also for the a very broad perspective of society, particularly people who live in the remote area or in the very distant places in the islands. And we must also improve the cooperations in the funding, not only the investment, but also in the funding. And improving business climate and cybersecurity, because I believe cybersecurity plays a very important role in ensure the consumers, all the people can have a very secure activities and transactions in the digital activities. And the last one is the policy and regulation support, policy reforms or policy adjustments. Since not only in Indonesia, but many of the ASEAN countries also have a absence in the policy that regulate digital economy in the broader perspective. We do have a regulation in e-commerce, but when we're talking about the digital economy, many of us doesn't have any proper regulation in place. So it will be a very difficult. And the necessary policy that we will do currently, we develop our domestic action plan in building, enhancing digital economy and having a more involvement for the target of higher the ranking for the digital economy by 2045.
Okay, thank you. So next question to the Kopsak-san. Kopsak-san, he played a very important role in not only in Thailand, but also in ASEAN and in APEC at the head of the Digital Trade Connect project. So my question is, how can ASEAN and Japan collaborate with each other to work on the tasks shown on the roadmap and accelerate trade digitalization you're working on?
As I mentioned to you earlier, that the digital trade is very complicated and very sophisticated. I think the first thing to make it happen is to do the transformation of the ecosystem to enable and facilitate digital trade. And the second thing is to have the connectivity digitally end-to-end. We have a lot of efforts that been happening right now, but it's more on the digital island. It's not connecting end-to-end. So if you want to maximize the benefit of the digitalization and digital trade, it had to be end-to-end connectivities. And when you have mentioned about end-to-end connectivity, it's the B2B, business to business, B2G, and G2G. So I think there are some efforts that have been working in this, including the ASEAN single window that is happening right now. But the other thing is that very important is the human capital development. I think one thing is to make it happen is you have to show to the everyone that the digital trade can really happen, and then what are the benefits that that can generate from the digital trade transformation. And these things, because of Japan is the major partner of the trade partner of the ASEAN and APEC, and also you have the FDI, foreign direct investment, in several countries. This can help a lot in terms of the promoting the digital trade in ASEAN and APEC. I think first of all, one thing is Japan can really make it happen and show to that this can happen. Second thing is knowledge sharing and capacity building. And third thing is to do the study on the regional basis and for each individual basis, because the level of readiness in various countries are not the same. So I think this will be important that each country should be aware of where they are and how can they participate in digital trade, what support they can have. And then Japan can play a role on this one. And the other thing is that one important thing is the communications. I think it is important to communicate not only to the business sector, but among the government sector also, on how importance of the digital transformation and what it is bring to. One thing that we as has been established in the private sector right now is under the Asia Pacific Financial Forum, we have created the Digital Trade Connect Network, which is the platform for knowledge sharing and capacity building. And we ask all the members countries in the ASEAN Business Advisory Council and APEC Business Advisory to join and to share their knowledge and what they have been done first in doing the transformation of their ecosystem. Second thing is how do they do connectivities. Mm-hmm. And this platform can be used, this network can be used to know what each other countries are doing, and then it will help you to, when you want to do the POC pilot life with other countries, you will have this information. And at the same time, countries that start doing it, they don't have to start from zero. They know where to get information, and they know who that can support and help you to do that. So this is a platform that already been happening. We started in October this year. We have already have 2 sessions in terms of the sharing. Thailand and Singapore have already shared on this one. And we also, for the next one, will be Japan. It will be on the January 25th. We will also invite the ASEAN Secretariat to share information on the DIFA and other things that they've been doing. And we also have the Ancitral, ICC, ADB to join into the district work. We try to expand this network, not only because of the in Asia, but we try to make it regionally or even globally if possible, because it will help accelerating the digital trade transformation. And Japan can play a very important role in this one, both in terms of sharing and help supporting other countries in terms of accelerating the digital trade. In Thailand, what we look forward to is that we hope that the POC pilot live we do more with more countries, and the digital trade connect network that we established will give us to know who we should do next. And we hopefully that by maybe next year or the following year, it can move from from POC pilot live to commercialize already.
Thank you, Kopsak-san. So we hear today hear the word platform or platformer. So we are here today, the 2 great platformers. My question to those 2 digital trade platformers, how can you collaborate or work together with overseas digital trade platforms together? So from Somiya-san?
Yeah, I think 3 points will be needed for the collaboration working together with the other overseas digital trade platform. First one is, as the Wei-san already mentioned, trust. Yeah, if that kinds of the transaction data is not reliable, that data cannot be end-to-end. if the data, the authenticity is proved by someone, that is very beneficial. So we need to include the national levels platforms or the government for the data security or the authenticity and the technology. One is the blockchain technology, but not limited to blockchain technology, but secure the data. That will be very important to collaborate with other national digital trade platforms. And the second one is the data matching. Yeah, Japan has the Japan's trade data, or the Singapore has Singapore's data, or the Thailand has the data format. That is a little bit different in the first stage. But if we making the POC together or the actual collaboration matching, we can find the difference and to fill those kinds of the gap together. That was done in the last year, and this year we are doing with Vietnam or the Indonesia, these countries. So those kinds of the grassroots POC and data matching can be making the data format, standard format together, and we are now suggest this data format should be included in the United Nations CFACT as a standard data format. So we can making the data standard format together, then we can easily collaborate with other platformers. And finally, the financial support will be also needed, because we are not making the, like this is just the business to business level, but including the government, we are making the data infrastructure construction is now making. So they're not only beneficial for the company, but also the country. So we need the government support for the financial area. And the Japanese government sector is also very good contributing to this kind of the financial area. And we are using this budget for the Indonesia and Vietnam collaboration this year. Yeah.
Thank you. Wai-san?
Yeah, I think Soumya-san raised a very important point about differences, right? I think in the pilots and POC that we've had the opportunity to do with Trade Walls and with Thailand's NDTP, one of the things that come up is same, but different. You know, we say that in Singapore. We share the trade digitalization platforms and vision, but in many ways we are different because we have to localize to the context of our businesses, our companies, and our regulations. The approach we take to digitalization is also different. So when we collaborate, I think it's important to accept those differences. Sometimes we wonder why it's so difficult to standardize. As Soumya-san knows, because we have many discussions about why can't we come together? That's a reality. So the biggest lesson I take away and share with everyone about collaboration is we are the same. We share the vision. We understand the benefits of trade digitalization, but we are also different. And we need to invest in each other, invest the time to work through these differences, be it data, be it processes, be it the way we want to interact. And sometimes the big objective is the same, but the day-to-day objectives are also a little bit different. But that's okay, because there's, I think in the spirit of collaboration, we were talking about the theme for today, right? It's collaboration, it's co-creation. I think we need to come together, recognize, respect, and accept those differences, and then co-create a win-win, collaborate and co-create, right? So I think that's one of the most important things in this journey of trade digitalization with our partners.
Thank you. So now we heard from the platformer's voice, but we want the voice from the users, the companies like the Katsuragi-san. So as a leading trading companies, what do you think about the government and the platform providers should do let more company utilize platform?
Yes, for shippers, there are two options to access a digital platform, trade platform. One is user interface, abbreviated as UI, by logging in the platform website. And another is API integration, between shippers, logistics system, and digital platform. When the shipper wants to apply trade information of many transactions, the amount of information must be very large, because inputting many data into UI manually is not feasible. So RPA is convenient and a useful way to support shipper. RPA can input data into UI on behalf of a shipper, and RPA cost is relatively reasonable to compare with API integration. When a shipper wants to handle huge amount of trade information by a digital platform, because RPA cannot manage such big volume, API integration must be the best option. So there are actually three options: manual input into UI, RPA input into UI, and API integration. Toyota Tsusho already started to use RPA input into trade words for certificate of origin application, and we are developing API integration to trade words for certificate of origin and export declaration as well next year. Luckily, Japanese government institution, METI, adopted those Toyota Tsusho's projects as being ineligible for subsidies. Honestly speaking, the cost of API integration is not cheap, because shippers or consignees has to modify their own logistics system to suit to various products. The cost effectiveness is not good, because the areas for efficiency improvement are not substantial. So many shippers already have their own trade logistics system for outputting trade data by PDF conveniently. So the beneficial portion of using digital trade platform is not so big for each shipper and each consignee. The digital trade platformers have to collect many shippers and many consignees, and many shippers, consignees, and custom clearance agents should participate in the platform to make this business feasible. Then the government support is necessary, like subsidies for API integration. For easy access to the subsidy, I'd like the government to consider a simpler application process for the subsidy to expand shippers and consignees who can use the digital platforms. Thank you.
Thank you. Actually, we are running out of time. It's almost already 11, but I'd like all panelists here to give today's audience the quick final comment. Maybe this time from Somiya-san to Dina-san. So Somiya-san.
Yeah, as we think the trade digitalization or creating the digital infrastructure between the Japan and also ASEAN country is not the one company's project, but the country levels project. This cannot be achieved by the only one platformers or the government, but also every companies who participated in our action. This is very legacy project. So in this session, all of you, the audience or the behind the video webinar, you are the audience, but I think all of the audience is leader to make the trade digitalization together for the Japan and ASEAN. So we would like your support and participation with the government, platformers, and the companies to get together to create the future of trade together. That is our statement for today. Yes.
Thank you. Tsuraki-san?
As I said, it is not easy for actual operators to implement the digital transformation. So government support and other private and public institutions support is very important. I appreciate the support from government as well. So as one of the top first learners of tackling with digital transformation, Toyota Tsusho would like to proceed with some trials and first use of digital platform. Thank you.
Wai-san?
Yeah, I think the concept of end-to-end trade digitalization is a very powerful and moving one. But I borrow an analogy from the space of change and transformation, right? We often think about things that we see and things that we don't, like the iceberg. With an iceberg, you see a very small proportion of it, and a lot of it is underneath. That, I think, speaks to the amount of work that we need to do. You see a platform or you see an API. There's a lot of work and an investment needed underneath. We talk about the benefits and our shared goals, but sometimes we also need to consider what's underneath, which is also change is not always easy. It needs work. We all have mindsets, values, things we don't say, right? And I think in collaboration, we need to understand all the things that we don't say, the stuff below the iceberg, below the waterline. So I would say my takeaway from the experience is to think about the iceberg, to address and try and address all the things under the waterline that we don't often speak about or we don't so often openly discuss.
Thank you.
Thank you. First of all, I would like to emphasize the benefit of the trade digitalizations. It really benefits the efficiency, and it helps the SMEs to be able to participate in the business cycle, not only domestic, but also cross borders. And the other thing is that it can help in terms of the financing for the SMEs. The important thing that a lot of people mentioned this morning is on the accessibility. I think these are the key message that the things that we have to be aware of, and then what the benefit that we have. But in terms of the trade digitalization, it's not an easy thing to do, as everyone mentioned, especially YE. There are a lot of things that below the border.
That's for co-creation and collaboration.
Yes, that's why we need to have a good collaboration and cooperations among the countries. One more important thing is that the tone from the top is very important. We need a clear and message from the clear voice and message from the top of every country, including Japan, to work together with ASEAN and in APEC on the digital trade information and connectivity, and to accelerate this to be happen sooner. There are many things that we have to be happening underneath of it, and this is the things that we have to identify and work together. And a cooperation between private sector and the government sector is very important. Another thing to make the transformation happen is the things that incentivize the business sector to change. I think this is the things that we have to all think of what each country have to do to make it happen. I think in Japan, you have set up a working group on this one, and also some incentive that you give to the Japanese companies to do the transformations. I think this same thing have to be done in various other countries also. Thank you.
Thank you. Dina-san?
Thank you. I believe other panelists already identify all the very important factors that need to be addressed. And if I can sum up, the things that need to be emphasized will be collaborations and cooperations among the stakeholders. And I believe this is one of the key elements that need to enhance. And the second one, I want to also emphasize the need for the policy regulations, policy adjustments, policy reforms, and also collaborations, not only among the stakeholders, but also amongst the parties, amongst countries. And regarding the relations between the ASEAN and Japan, I also noted that there is one initiative that already been endorsed during the previous IMAT meeting in August in Indonesia, related with the Future Design and Action Plan. And one of the important pillar that have been endorsed will be the strengthening the cyber physical connectivities. And I believe this is one initiative that can be followed and can be following up with other initiatives to make it the cooperations more concrete and more feasible. And hopefully, once again, the digital economy can not only become a game changer in the region, in our regions, but also in the worldwide. So we must face these phenomena with a very good will to enhance our cooperations and collaborations. Thank you.
Thank you. So this is the end of the panel discussion, but we are not, listen to today's discussion, the trade digitalization has a lot of the potential, but a lot of challenges. But we can overcome by collaboration or co-creation between the platformers and users and government and the companies and Japan and ASEAN. Okay, so thank you all for your time, and please give great panelists today a big round of applause. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Tanaka-san, and all the panelists for discussion. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much indeed. And with that, we will end the trade digitalization part of the ASEAN-Japan Economic Co-Creation Forum. We will now break for 5 minutes, so please take a break.
We will now take 5 minutes break. We will now take 5 minutes break. Please return to your seat in 5 minutes. Thank you.